Your Honor, Michael Morton's letter begins, I'm sure you remember me. I was convicted of murder in your court in February of this year. I've been told that you are to decide if I am ever to see my son Eric again. I haven't seen him since the morning that I was convicted. I miss him terribly, and I know that he has been asking about me. He goes on, you cannot imagine what it is like to lose your wife the way I did, then to be falsely accused and convicted of this terrible crime. First my wife, and now possibly my son. Sooner or later, the truth will come out, the killer will be caught, and this nightmare will be over. I pray that the sheriff's office keeps an open mind. It is no sin to admit a mistake. No one is perfect in the performance of their job. I don't know what else to say except I swear to God that I did not kill my wife. Please don't take my son from me too. Pamela Colloff does not begin her story about Michael Morton's false conviction for the murder of his wife in the courtroom or at the murder scene. She starts with a father's plea for his son. Pam reminds us from the start that we share a common humanity, and she uses that humanity to reveal a part of the criminal justice system that, for the innocent embroiled in it, is a Kafka novel made real. Pam's skill at spinning deep investigations into a gripping human drama exemplify the kind of meaningful, impactful journalism that we all aspire to. Reading her story about Michael Morton's quarter-century saga, it's hard as a father and a husband not to put myself in his place. He's confronted with the horror that his wife has been murdered. Even as he grieves, his tragedy grows. He's falsely accused of her killing. His son is taken away. His wife's family turns against him. Soon, his son turns against him. He is alone, a victim of a system he thought was supposed to protect him and his family. Meanwhile, his wife's murderer roams free and might have killed again. The Lyons Award honors conscience and integrity in journalism. Its winners have toiled to reveal truths. Marcelo Turati, last year's winner, showed us the violence of the drug war in Mexico. Mohamed Nabous died while working to get images of the war in Libya out to the world. Edward R. Murrow confronted the red baiting of Senator McCarthy, and Ralph Nader got all of us to wear seatbelts, saving countless lives around the world. Pam continues in this great tradition, exposing flaws that call into question the integrity of the criminal justice system. And she does it with sensitivity that forces us to care. In a later story, she follows Morton, now a free man, as he testifies at the trial of the man who is eventually convicted of actually killing his wife. Pam's story follows Morton into the witness room, where he sits as a procession of other witnesses filter through. Many of them are the very same people who testified against him so long ago and sent him to jail. Many of them apologize. Her other stories on the false murder conviction of Anthony Graves, on the conviction of Hannah Overton for poisoning her foster son with salt from vegetable beef soup and Creole seasoning, raise questions about the very basis of testimony and evidence. Pam's story of Michael Morton doesn't end with his release from prison. It pushes on into what this meant for this family, for his wife's relatives who struggle to accept that he is not the monster who murdered their beloved Christine. And it ends with Michael and his son, now grown up and with a child of his own, working to rebuild the shattered link between a father and his son. Ultimately, even through Michael's exoneration and the conviction of another man in the killing, it is a bond that can't be fixed.
Good evening. Pamela Colloff was named the recipient of the 2014 Louis Lyons Award by the current Nieman class after a process that took place mostly here, in the night seminar room of the Lieberman House. It was hours of conversation, now without some heated moments. But at the end, we managed to engage in a collective reflection to decide who to honor, what distinguishes integrity and conscience in journalism, what it means to us, what do we want to say with this recognition. Do we want to honor the courage of the reporters risking their lives in wartime places like Syria, or of those facing extreme repression like many cases mentioned from China? But what about the journalism here within the US and the reporters documenting the problem that exists in this society? That's when the investigative and narrative pieces of Pam Colloff came out to our attention. And as my colleague Ravi Nessman mentioned, her work points to the deep flaws of a justice system whose victims are here in US soil, a country that remains as a global ideal of justice and freedom. Pam Colloff's work led the candidates from early on. The class was impressed by when we learned that one of her stories, The Innocent Man, contributed to the release of a person on death row. That result is every reporter's dream, one fellow told me. What can be greater than seeing how our journalism turns into action, and this action turns into change, into justice? What can be greater than helping us save a human life? As one of the coordinators for this award, I had the honor to communicate the great news to Pam. And I had the opportunity to talk to her and learn that she's a mother of two, and she has spent more than a decade investigating and writing about the Texas justice system. The reason? She finds crime stories fascinating, powerful in narrative terms. I also asked her, how does it feel to see the immediate results of your work? Laws are being written because of your coverage. And I couldn't be more impressed and moved by her words, her answer. I don't like to think about myself as a person who may make changes, she told me. I think about myself more as a storyteller. And a storyteller that trusts that if the story is truthfully told, then I hope that it has its own power. So thank you so much, Anne-Marie, for choosing me to participate in this process and for introducing our awardee, Pam.